Tic Talk, Tic Talk, Tic Talk, Talk.
A real Celtic talk show by real Celtic fans from the Carluke Shamrock Supporters Club on Hail Hail Media.
Tic Talk, Tic Talk, Tic Talk, 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 Talk.
This is the highlight of my day.
Is it known his fucking diary?
This is the only thing that's stopping
He's
me.
no one for you.
He's no work from home. This is the only thing. This is the only thing that's
It's all
stopping me.
drives
Working.
and take issue to his.
Didn't even for this, I'd still be sitting working.
You're one to reevaluate that, Kev. If you're up to him.
Sometimes I can do some.
What's going on here, sir?
Just recording.
Actually, that was quite funny last week.
Tic Talk, Talk, Talk.
Hail, hail, and welcome to Tic Talk with the Carluke Shamrock Supporters Club. My name's Vincent. This podcast has been recorded on Wednesday the 4th of September. You can find more information about the club at carlukeshamrock.com and details of the podcast and the other Celtic family podcasts at hailhailmedia.com. On the podcast tonight, we'll be looking back at the weekend win over Dundee United, Champions League qualifier against Shakhtar Dundee. We'll look forward to our next match, which is against Hertz, and we'll have some hot topics and our usual shambolic shenanigans. So let's see who we've lined up for you tonight on the panel.
Brian,
Peter,
Kevin. So unfortunately, it's the same. It's the same.
Listen, see
for last week.
Shamrock.com is Richard paid the hoster.
Alright, are we maybe not carlukeshamrock.com?
It was down. Last podcast it wasn't working. But I don't know if it's back up yet.
Can you find out if he needs money or
Aye, let's find out what's going on there. I'll contact
money in
you.
the house if he needs
just
it.
I'll contact the
know
boss.
I think we should maybe cut that out. We don't want somebody stealing our domain and then trying to rip the arse out of it.
Oh, well, you've given them the idea.
Right, get that
think we'll go right.
We'll delay the upload of
Before we kick off, Peter, you want to inform the listeners of what we're chowing on tonight?
Oh, we're treated tonight. Actually, we've got two. We've actually got two biscuits of today.
Right,
Oh,
so
that's not a biscuit.
Well,
this one's a biscuit, aye, so what's
that
that?
one's a biscuit. It's a Viennese chocolate.
Oh, very nice.
Milk.
I brought them. Chocolate
It's very
milk.
nice. I've already had one. Vincent brought them,
Yep.
and Kevin has brought Mr. Kipling's French Francis.
Nine
Charles
of
called
them, but there's only three pink enough.
Fondant fancies.
Fondant fancies,
I
aye.
thought they're French
I
Francis.
think-
Aye, the box says
think-
French
I
fancies.
think the fondant fancies are Tesco's own make.
Are they?
the ones you
Kipling's
get.
are
I'm
Mr.
getting.
Kipling's.
I'm getting short-changed in my house, aren't I?
They might be fine for your yellow label from our formative days. I don't even think they would have been called fondant fancies. They were just
And we'll just
fancies.
we'll just start a new thing, seeing as we're doing it every week. How do we rate the biscuits, Lance?
I'm quite happy with them.
Not as good as the Shakhtar Dundee game last week, that's for sure. This time last week. What time was
I'll
it?
go with the Foxy's Melts
God,
again.
we've
that's
gone
it.
mental.
I would go with the Fox's Mills. I think they're very
Aye,
nice.
they're alright.
Okay, so first game we're going to kick off with is Shakhtar Dundee. A fantastic result.
Can we just-
a very good night.
Can we just say something before
Yep.
before
You
even
can
that
say
game?
it, you want.
I think the first victory, and it was a victory for common sense, happened a couple of days before that, or the week, 5 or 6 days before it, when the club and the Green Brigade managed to get
we're gonna come on to
an
that.
amicable agreement on the way forward.
That's
and
later
for
on in the agenda.
That's a hot topic.
So that was the first victory, as far as I'm concerned.
There we are.
Which led to his building on it.
Just cut that bit out, man.
Aye, no bother. I'm going to be left with fuck all.
Oh, explicit.
It was explicit last week as well.
It doesn't mean we need to do it every single week.
Aye, we do.
Okay, I'll give you the team. It's always a good place to start. We had Foster in goal. We had Lustig, Izagiri, Ambrose, Mulgrew, Forrest, Brown, Ledley, Commons, Samaras and Stokes. So Brian, you're going to tell us how they lined up on the night. How did
Do you know, it was quite interesting when that team was read out, because I thought it was going to... there was a number of different permutations of how that team could line up.
I thought it was
And
going
I
to be
thought it
Ambrose,
was... Sorry,
Ambrose
you're
and
telling
Mulgrew.
us now.
Aye, sorry. I'll just have a
No,
biscuit.
on you go, why
no,
man?
no, you're the best at it.
You ask a question, then you answer it yourself.
A podcast for one.
So, Vinny, tell us.
They know why you're here.
So, yeah, because it could have been, I thought, potentially, Lustig could have been playing right back and Matthews playing in front of him, but you've not got Matthews down there. And Matthews, that's a wrong team, Vincent. Aye, Matthews was playing for the start.
He was, aye.
So who's Ryan in there?
There's a Gary.
There's a Geary, was
Yeah, I
That's
agree
a
with
good
that point.
You've
Yeah,
just
yeah.
made that team up.
So we got Matthews.
Right, listen, I think we should just pause it now and see if Richard's doing anything tonight.
Welcome, Brian. You're only quarter an hour late, son.
You see the first
Cutting the grass.
podcast that
You've actually taken the heat off of Vinny because he's just read out the team for last week
and it
got
was wrong. It was the wrong team. He read
Rank
it.
team. It's bad preparation.
Bad preparation. So I thought Lustig could have been playing right back with Matthews playing right midfield. I thought Lustig could have been playing in centre half as part of a 2. I thought he could be playing with Ambrose and Mulgrew as part of a 3. So there was a load of permutations. So it was quite interesting to see how they lined up, and we just playing the normal 4 at the back.
So you lined up with
Lustig at right back, Mulgrew at...
No, Lustig was playing centre half.
Sorry, Lustig at centre half, Matthews at right back, Mulgrew and
Ambrose.
Ambrose centre half, Mulgrew at left back. So I was quite surprised at that. I was surprised when we had talked about it the last podcast about Mulgrew. So I was happier that he was playing at left back rather than midfield like he was playing in the first game. And I thought we started the game really well. I thought the first 20 minutes we were well on top, and then the odd pass went astray, and the crowd, you felt, were getting a wee bit on top of the team, but the first goal couldn't have came at a better time. Couldn't have came at a better time for us. Really changed their manager's half-time team talk, and then with the second goal so early in the second half, that negated their half-time team talk. I thought that's when Shakhtar actually played their best. Kevin and I were speaking about it at the game. They played their best after our second goal, out of both legs for the next 10-15 minutes.
I've had to be given a choice at the game at half time when I wanted to score with the last kick of the ball in the first half or the first kick of the ball in the second half. I would have chosen the second half because the fans were up for it, and I just felt even only that 30 seconds or something after we scored our goal, there was the episode where Samaras, I think, clashed with their central defender down near the kind of their corner of where their fans were, and it was as if they were just absolutely bricking it when they do anything. I thought, it's just a bit disappointing. Half time's come, but saying that, you then go out and within 3 minutes of the second half you're 2 up. It was just brilliant.
Their manager's expecting to be getting in at half time, nothing each. He's got his team talk worked out for that, what he's going to say to each player, and that all changed just before half time. So he gives the team talk of, right, you're 1 behind, is how you want to play it. And that all changed. So that, everything he was telling them to do for the second half all changed within a couple of minutes.
Brian,
So I just thought it was great time to score the goals.
We made a lot of the first game, Brian, where we said he played an unfamiliar centre half pairing, and he done it again, but this time it worked.
No, it didn't, but did
The two
it?
of them played well. The two of them played
How did
well
you
at the back. See, the two of them, they really played well.
I thought so. I
They
thought
were comfortable.
Ambrose
They
was
were actually
outstanding.
comfortable passing the ball. That was the difference. They were comfortable moving the ball either side, and I thought that was Ambrose's best game for Celtic. I thought it was outstanding.
Peter?
I thought I'd agree with Brian totally. I think Ambrose was outstanding playing the night. I thought he was fantastic. The way he controlled the ball to around. I will say about Shakhtar Karagandhi. I've also talked to with Brian, a few others. I don't know if you agree with this, but I think that team could cause a lot of teams a lot of problems. See if you've got somebody that flings the ball into the ball about the way that guy does, and you've got guys that are 6 foot odds. It's got to cause panic in any box in the world. Imagine him playing against Barcelona, just for talking sake. Barcelona's just a small side. If they would have got that back and they've got a shy that goes in like that,
but see, the last thing you can do to defend against that is push out. And I heard you shout at the game, push out. And you can't do that against a throw-in because you can't get offside. So all you'd be doing is leaving their players standing in the box. You can't push out.
To me, the goalkeeper has to command then, Brian.
That might be a fair point, but you can't push out. You can't have your defensive line high. Your defensive line's got to be with the strikers.
But the goalkeeper should. But the goalkeeper's screaming at the top of the defenders and telling them, you come in.
To me,
the centre half's got to win the first header.
What I was trying to say about pushing out, Brian, what I was trying to get across there was, we were playing. Why was James Forrest and all our forwards going back? There was no point in name. You were looking at the park and there was nobody at the park. There was nobody at the park. Why were we not pushing two guys? That's what I meant by that push out. Get two guys at the halfway line to try and draw some of the players out.
And then
who was it used to do that? Was it, what do you call him, the Dundee United manager?
Jim McLean.
No, the other one, like Golak or something.
Ivan Golak.
I remember he used to put two wingers either side of the halfway line at corners, and it meant you had to have at least three back. And as soon as any of them got it, they used to launch it up the park. But I think it's a combination of the angle that the side comes in at, and the fact that you can't play offside. So they're just piling in almost on top of the goal.
That's what I'm saying. But we were encouraging their full team to go forward, Vincent. You know what I mean? By our full team starting in our box, you would have given in each other's road. To be perfectly honest. And that's what I remember pushing out. Brian, we should have pushed two guys maybe halfway somewhere. Draw guys out.
I wouldn't disagree with that. You have a couple of guys upfield.
That's what I was trying to scream. Get it, you know.
What do you think of Zonal Martin?
Hate it.
Oh, see, that's
Did you actually see one of the corner kicks they go?
Said to him.
See the corner kick, right? That we had. The first player was Ambrose, then it was Mulgrew, then it was Lustig, then Samaras. That was the four for the kind of. It's like a wee
along the 6 yard.
It's like a wee curve kind of idea for the 6 yard line. Then with two runners, they had 6 players out there.
Brian, I said to Brian as well last week during the game. I says zonal marking's terrible because any player that's got 5 or 6 yards of a running you, and you rise and the ball's at the same height, you both go for it. 99% of the time they'll win it.
Yeah. You've got the momentum.
And I said that to you at the game.
The stats don't really back that up.
Not only because the balls, if you've got the players in the right position, you hope you've got enough players covering the area that's going. Either somebody steps back or somebody steps forward. But see if you don't. See when we played Man U a few years ago, I happened to be watching the game down south. I think we drew 1 each when Scott McDonald scored the wee chip, and they had 9 corners in the first half, and it was almost a miracle that they didn't score at least half a dozen goals from. Every single one of those 9 opportunities that came in, one of them headed the ball. And it's just, I was going mental down. I was down in a pub in Reading, and I was going apoplectic. Zonal marking zonal marking is
actually, I don't think the stats back that up, and I think it probably, like everyone else, it depends how you carry it out. But I think
it comes down to players.
You could say, it comes down to the players. Do you know what I mean? You could say, actually, let's put our best players on their best players. But in actual fact, the fact that they're used to, or they should be used to, it just happens that Celtic aren't always brilliant at it, but you should be used to the position that you're always supposed to be in and all that kind of thing.
Kevin says if that guy's got a running you,
but that's where you exploit it. Do you know what I mean? But it's like the other way. If you went the other way,
and that makes total sense. But as Vincent says, the
stats don't. If you listen to Gordon Strachan did a great talking. I think it was one Celtic game I watched. It's Celtic exactly how it works.
And see goals scored against defences that play zonal marking from a corner, from a long throw in, or from a free kick in that area where they put the zonal marking in place. Those goals are always highlighted. There's never see the goals scored where the guy just against a normal defence. They never highlight those goals and say, look, zonal marking's better.
I just don't like it. I don't like it.
I'm not keen on it either. I have to say, I 100% agree that it doesn't make sense to me that a guy can get a run and jump on you at any given cross because you've got a zone to mark. But
I think any managers that are worth their savvy can usually exploit it.
It was quite funny seeing it was Brown and Matthews trying to stop the runners. There were 6 of them.
Going back to Big Effie, I just thought he was absolutely phenomenal. I think we actually called it. So going back to your point of a few minutes ago, Vincent, I don't think it was a new centre back pairing for this season, but they've played together umpteen times last season.
Who? Lustig and Ambrose.
Lustig's went into centre half.
He's went into three on
No many.
half
I don't think he has.
No,
I don't think so.
half a dozen.
I don't think so.
Half a dozen times last season.
Definitely
No,
played
I
a
don't
couple
think
of
the
times
stats will
before it.
back that up.
They have played.
Oh, sorry, Stan.
And I thought
Listen, you couldn't even get a right blooming team. Never
I
mind.
suppose I should shut up.
we called. I think we called it right in the last when we were saying about Mulgrew playing in midfield and he shouldn't be playing there. That's his worst position. Full back's better and centre back's better again. We called it right with Ambrose as well, and that the amount of abuse he takes off of people has been absolutely shocking. And Steve McLaughlin tweeted out something on Wednesday night that was quite interesting. That people's perception of him has been tarnished by a game that he shouldn't even have been picked to play in, which is the Juventus game. And that, to be honest, that probably
I don't know
comes
if it
down.
was just that game.
It was, of course it was. It was
I
a hero
disagree.
before then, Vinny.
think
It was
the
a
African
hero.
Cup in Nations
Honestly, every game.
I
He
think
was an absolute
hero.
hero.
Take Ambrose for what
I
he is.
disagree.
He's a bomb scare.
He's a bomb scare. He's got to get. He's like the big boy who plays with Chelsea. He's a fantastic player and all, but if you speak to any Chelsea fan, they'll say he's a bomb scare. That David Luiz, but he's some player. You know.
I think because he's a football. I think because he's a
What
football.
I mean, Kevin,
a
is
football
he's got that
defender.
mistake.
Correct.
So choose a better word than a bomb scare. It's such a derogatory term. I'll tell you,
Don't take it
bomb
personally.
scare.
Don't take it personally.
Oliver Tabley, Raphael Scheid, they're bomb scares. The big man's just sometimes will get caught because his natural instincts is to do what we want to do, a centre back to do and play football.
So does the other one. Did you see him on Saturday?
Lustig?
Move on to that.
We'll come on to him.
Oh, the big
Van Dijk.
He was excellent.
Move on to that.
So we want our centre halves to actually get the ball down and play a wee bit of football. Occasionally you will get caught. All you can ask them to do, and I think it's been a big difference in the last 2 games. He looks as if he's had a higher level of concentration. Last week I thought his concentration level was absolutely phenomenal. It just looked as if he was in the zone. And the more you can keep him in the zone, I think he should continue to have
But I
games
don't
like
think
that, to be
you can
honest.
say he's no beyond criticism, right? I mean,
I'm not saying
I
that.
think he
I'm not
wants.
saying that.
If you let me finish, I think you're right. We do want, football and centre halves, and that's all well and good. I just don't think it's too much to ask for a guy to have the savvy to know when to play and when not to play. And I think that's why he gets criticism, because I think there's times when he should obviously hoof it the way he's facing, where he tries to play it when he shouldn't. And I think that'll come with experience. I still think he's a great player.
You think it was a master stroke or a bit of luck by letting him drop him? If you know what I mean. Because the 2 games he's come back since he got dropped, he's been out. He was outstanding Saturday.
I think he's always had a level of criticism beyond the errors that he's made.
I do as well, but I think Sammy's
Football.
the same.
We've all got different opinions on different
He
players.
was never dropped, Kevin, you know what I mean? You think it was a massive stroke by Lennon, do you think it was a stroke of luck, Brian? You know what I mean? Did he mean to do it, you know?
Well, I certainly didn't mean to drop him and get beat 2-0 over there, so
No, I
it
couldn't
was
imagine
probably
that.
I don't think that was part of the master plan.
I'll drop you so you can come back and get into the zone, but it was good. Got to
Anyway,
say
as
it
regards the game, I thought the game was one of the games where you were despairing. You went for
You say it was great afterwards.
It
wasn't great during it.
2-0, you were despairing. I felt we were playing in front of them. We were playing in front of them, and I felt we were running out. I felt if we were in the extra time, we'd probably get beat because we were running out.
Kevin,
You know what
8 minutes to go in normal time. Kevin said,
I'd
take extra time right now, and I'm like, no way, we can score. We can score here. See when they held up by 4 minutes, I was delighted. He said his head in his hands.
Oh, we were like that as well.
I thought the game
we
were
could
definitely going to
do
score.
it.
That's what I thought.
I thought James Forrest was out on his feet. I thought Matthew was out
thought
on
that
his
as
feet.
well.
It's interesting. Stokesy and Forrest were the 2 that we were like, he needs to get them off. He needs to make a change. They're absolutely. They were struggling. Next minute, Stokesy picks the ball. I don't know where he get the extra drive and energy from.
Great run,
great
dribble.
run. Look up, we touch back, and Forrest.
That was the biggest thing. See at that point in the game, not only dribbling the ball by 3 guys,
awareness.
having the awareness to look up and pick out a player.
And actually, the
How many
ball.
times did we not do that?
We hadn't done it all night. Many times we got to the byline and there was balls getting floated out
Or
of
the
tap.
wrong run was made.
And plus another thing with the Stokes run is the defenders can't touch him because it's too late in the game. to
You
touch.
see the boy pull back.
You can't touch, and he done the right thing, kept the ball at his feet, in at them, and they couldn't touch
And
him.
I think
I thought it was excellent.
Forrest has
Absolutely.
had a lot of criticism over the piece as well.
Great finish.
But I think that shows you the value that you get. To be honest, Joe Ledley, I think, has got the capability to deliver on it. But midfielders who can make those late runs into the box and not be picked up, you'll never get that for a Scott Brown. Scott Brown will just sit and never, very, very rarely ever gets in the box.
That's the thing that's a wee bit frustrating.
And so when you look at Forrest and you see that's obviously what Lennon continues to see in him.
I think James Forrest has been unfortunate. I think he's been injured. I think he is carrying it. He's definitely
apparently still carrying an injury.
And he's young, you know. And we seem to be. Lennon had a point after the game. We seem to be more critical of a Scottish homegrown. We were the same with Aidan McGeady as well.
I just think it's any player that the fans take a dislike to. Look at the abuse Sammy still gets. Even Wednesday night, Sammy was different class.
You can get back 20
still
years
getting abuse.
Jerry Craney and even Mark Burchell and even players before that get hard times, you know what I mean? It's always Tony Shepherd 40 years ago. We're getting back
let's
there,
not kid ourselves that Jimmy Johnson and Kenny Dalglish and and Charlie Nicholas never got it. Do you know what I mean? It's just fickle fans.
I can't remember as much as people they bought. People they bought coming in that got the same abuse as the players that actually came through the ranks. To be honest,
I think Sammy.
A bit more patience.
Probably Sammy's the exception to prove the rule, but Sammy gets awful abuse. But it was great, that boy behind us that always gives Sammy abuse. At the Shakhtar game when Sammy went in the wee mazy run, and just as he was doing it, guys, Sammy, you're effing going nowhere. And just as he was saying it, he lays it off to Commons, or Commons takes it and bangs it in. That was just brilliant, just the timing of it. And then the boy with James Forrest. What was it?
No, that wasn't James Forrest.
It was Commons.
Commons at the start of the second half. The boy was about 6-7 seats along. And I think it actually turned out there was about 15 of them all sitting about in the rows in front. Because the boys like that, Commons hits a free kick and it slaps it into the wall.
Well, I didn't think he did. He tried to shoot it under the wall. So I think he's wanting the ball to jump Alan Thompson style.
And the boys like that, the fucking time you're fucking hopeless, and starts getting him. I'm like, every time you do that, I'm like, he's just banged one in 10 minutes ago at the end of the first half, 25 yards. You forget about that. And the boy kind of went, and I think, do you know, it just struck me as being one of these guys that probably just shouts and hasn't even got a recollection 10 seconds later of what he actually said. So he's giving them all the time, you're effing useless.
And it's
just honest to God.
Some
guys in that bit we sat in. Unbelievable.
There's a guy behind you that I see, and he's just got the angriest face I've ever seen.
I know.
For 90 minutes. 90 minutes. Even when we're winning.
As he get the same veins bulging out his neck as the big house must stay open. Is he close to that one?
You've seen that guy?
I know, you can hear him. I fear to look up.
He's very scary.
Because I can't keep my mouth shut. So once I identify who he is, Peter, it's battle stations, I'm afraid, mate.
Oh, well, Sam, you're that boat's already been sold. Because Jim Sanderson's had a go at him, Jim Creaney had a go at him. The next thing they're swapping Christmas cards.
I was coming back from Dundee on Saturday, and obviously the second game in a row we got a late winner, and Declan just said there's nothing better than scoring at the end of the game, is there? That feeling where you're just pumped. You know what I mean? It was just last week.
Someone tweeted last night, and I kind of retweeted it, and it was the moment Celtic score a last minute winner to get through to the Champions League, and the link was to, I don't know if it was Follow or Rangers Media or something.
I saw it. I read your retweet. It was absolutely
it was just tremendous. I read about 8 pages of it. I couldn't sleep.
Well, it was slightly before
man bees.
No, it was slightly before the goal.
Timeline slightly before the goal.
The goal, and then after
Shakhtar, 4 minutes to score. Obviously, it held up. It was just great. The timeline's fantastic, and they're calling us for everything. And then guys are saying, who cares? They'll get pumped in the Champions League. And look at them celebrating. You think they'd won it? Brilliant, man.
And Lennon got dog's abuse,
and they were sick. And then some of the other guys maybe just no so daft ones, just the normal daft ones, no the really daft ones. They're saying, but it's 17 million. We're guaranteed.
No, that's a Tim Foster. That was Uncle John.
That's them getting 17 million.
There was definitely one Tim Foster, because he said, look in the bright, I can look in the bright side. I had a couple of quid on the Manx to win with Shakhtar 2 goals of a start, and he says I've won 67 quid.
I've got to say, Twitter was really enjoyable, really enjoyable afterwards. And did you see Lennon's tweet the following morning? When he says, I was running down that line like Usain Bolt or something. He's Stavros, was it Stavros Flatley or something like that? Is that
dancing boy.
And then, did you see the boys tweet back to him? Stavros,
no,
he's tweeted back to Lennon later on in the day. Saying that, I can't even remember what he said. It was so funny.
I was going to talk about Green Brigade later on, but just in terms of the atmosphere then, what do you think of the atmosphere given that they were back? So is that a truce being called, Brian? What's the official word from
I
inside?
don't know. I honestly don't know. I did
The statement got released. Saying they've agreed.
That's what the atmosphere of the game is brilliant.
So did I. And they're still doing the lateral movement, but they're not doing it across the aisles. And obviously, to me, that's what's been agreed. Because you still see them, they're only doing it a wee bit, and that's fantastic. They can still get to sing the songs they want to sing and do the things that they want to do. And there's been that compromise reached, and everybody's been sensible about it, which is fantastic. And I agree with Peter wholeheartedly. The atmosphere was fantastic in the main. There was certain times, and I think it was the time, probably the last 15 minutes of the first half before we scored, people were starting to get a bit anxious, a bit groany, and then probably 20 minutes, the last 20 minutes of the second half before we scored, people, because Shakhtar were in the game then, they hit the bar every time they got a long throw in. I mean, it was more dangerous than a blooming corner. And people were a bit moany and groany, and I think that to me that adds pressure to the players.
Oh, I definitely.
Do you not think that the 20 minutes after we scored our second goal was the most they showed, even in their own home game?
See if
they'd actually went out with that kind of mentality and bravery, and at the start of in that game at Celtic Park, and probably the game over there, they might have actually got something
also at the same time. We're sitting back at the same time. We're saying, right, we've scored. Let's keep it tight for the next 5 minutes. Don't. So there's a bit of both there, but I would agree. I thought
there was. So to me, that I enjoyed that every bit as much as the Barcelona game last year. And obviously, I was leaving work quite late last night, and I happened to back at 7 put it on to Clyde. And I missed a number of calls, but obviously they were talking about, somebody was on talking about Celtic fans over excited about a result against a pub team to all intents and purposes, and a woman phoned in and she said, look, it's all relative. She said, I love Barcelona, but you've got to, because I think it was Gordon DL and somebody else were saying, and Mark Guidi, and they're like, you probably just need to be a fan to understand what it means. We went into that game with it basically knowing that if we didn't get to the Champions League, it was going to be a failure. We were 2 goals behind, a lot of pressure on the team, huge amount of pressure on Lennon, and as a fan you go into that game and it was every bit as good as the Barcelona game. Now, as a passive observer, you could say, well, Barcelona versus Shakhtar Karagandhi, there is no competition, but being there in the moment,
it was fantastic. I have to say, the Barcelona game
for the first leg,
I don't think it was.
Yeah.
Brian, Barcelona
after the game
with me forever.
Neil Lennon took
Sorry,
Kev. After the game, Neil Lennon took the opportunity to castigate press and some fans alike. What was your thoughts?
Well, end of the day, we did get beat over there with 2-0. You've just said it, they're a pub team in theory.
Yeah.
They weren't a pub team, but they weren't the best team we'd played in the qualifiers, in my eyes.
Aye.
But they had their own way. They had their own way of playing, which is difficult to play against. As Peter was saying earlier, about the long shies and the flood in the box and that. To get through there, brilliant. But Neil Lennon's quite right in saying one thing, because he did lose the spine of a team. See the 3 players he lost? There were 3 starting players. It wasn't 3 players you would say, right, they were in and out of the team. There were 3 players that were, if he was naming a team, they 3 had been it.
Every week.
And the other guys he's brought in now have not settled yet. And it's a great achievement. It's a great achievement to get through again. Because there are teams out there, they're Leon, they get put out.
Aye.
You know what I mean? If you could look through in that Europa League, the teams that come out of it, there's some right good teams, didn't they go? You know what I mean? So, it's a great achievement. You're a small country, you've got to take that into place. You've got a league there that's not the best, rate it as the best. But I see a standard of football coming out of Scottish football now. I've just watched that transfer window there in England. That was obscene. Obscene.
Bizarre.
Depressed me, right? Absolutely depressed me. It's getting me depressing me anymore. The way it's orchestrated, I'm sure the Sorkin Street by Sky Sports.
Yeah, it's been doing that for years.
To be honest, I'm actually.
Is Jim White behind it off, Peter?
Honest, see the way it unfolds. You're not going to tell me that's by accident.
Well, I think it's
11 o'clock at night, they're still signing players. They've had a false summer to sign the guy.
But it's all brinkmanship, isn't it? It's all brinkmanship to try to get the best deal.
It seems to me as if they're pulling the strings. They've got people there, they know where to go to. You know? And then you've got these clowns standing outside Highbury, Emirates and Old Trafford and all this. And you've got these, where's these people that stand behind them? This is 11 o'clock at night, these young guys. You've seen them? You know,
I don't watch it, no. Who's the people that watch it? That's what I'd like to know. Pedro, I know one. But see, to go back to your original question to Brian about what when he said after the game, I thought he was right to have a go at the press and some of the fans in terms of some of the treatment that James Forrest got. But the most interesting part for me was his lack of support. When he said he had a lack of support, meaning around the signings with Peter Lawwell.
What did they say exactly? I don't remember.
I can't remember the quote, but that's what it inferred, that he didn't have the full support to bring signings in. And we know we didn't get signings before that game, and that was a big risk doing that. But to me, what it said was everything isn't well in that relationship. I always thought that relationship was a good, strong, working relationship, and I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, and he was just letting off steam after a very high pressure week.
He signed a new contract, but no increase in his terms. And some would argue his terms are pretty good anyway.
But it wasn't so much his terms he was talking about, it was the lack of support in the transfer market which he was inferring.
But I'm saying the fact that he signed a contract would suggest that maybe he's no unhappy from that point of view. He's still on a rolling contract and it's still the same salary. It's a pretty good salary.
So why is he signing a new contract?
What do you mean?
Well, if it's rolling, surely if it's rolling, just continues to go. You don't need to sign a new one.
No, he's signed a new one because he said there was some detail that he wished to change that he never made public.
Right.
So there was tweaks within it, but he said it's not for any increase in money.
Aye.
But in actual fact, if it's £500,000 or £600,000, that's not too bad. Do you know what I mean? It's not to be sniffed at.
I just thought that was interesting. That
I didn't pick up the bit where he said he wasn't supported. I don't know whether
I thought he did say that. He did say that.
It was around the lack of signings, and I can't remember the exact quote, but he definitely inferred that there was a lack of support from the board for him with the squad.
I thought he was trying to get. I thought he looked. I'm not saying tired, but I'm not saying he looked tired. I thought he was. What's the word I'm trying to say?
He'd had a tough week. It was a high pressure, stressful week.
He watches. Again, we go back to the English transfer market. He watches these English managers just drop a hat and guys will come.
Aye.
And I think the Celtic, he's been trying to get players, and players are just laughing at him. You want to come to Celtic? I mean, guys you don't even hear it, Brian. They're just laughing at Celtic now.
But you don't know that. You're just saying that.
I told you the guy would even come. What was his name?
Finn Bogason.
The first guy that went for the striker.
Finn Bogason.
Aye, the guy.
That doesn't mean he's laughing.
I think a strong statement. The point you're trying to make is I suspect they've had a list which and they've went through this list, and I suspect come the end of the transfer window they were probably near the end of that list, and the frustration probably is the fact that there's probably a number of deals that just didn't happen for various reasons. But in actual fact, I've got confidence in their strategy. I just think, if we're going to talk about the transfer window later on, but if you look at what they actually ended up doing in terms of the guy for Peterborough, what was his name? Lee Tomlin. And it got to, they made 3 bids for the guy while the guy was on the park type thing, do you know what I mean, on the Saturday. So that suggests to me an element of some panic, and maybe what he was hinting at was that maybe, say, if you take the Finn Bogason deal, maybe that deal could have been done, nobody knows, but it could have been done for, say, another $5,000 a week, and maybe he's hinting the fact that Celtic weren't prepared to do that, because I think they had a value for the guy, and they met the value for the guy, and they wanted more. I think that's what it was. I think if you'd have gave the guy the money and we were in the Champions League, I think he would have came. I really think he would have came.
That's all all speculation. You've got no greater insight to whether they'll come back. I can't disclose my sources. Peter says no, he wouldn't come with us. So it's absolute speculation.
But I just thought that was interesting that Lenny had publicly said that, inferred it, strongly inferred that there couldn't be. He didn't leave it ambiguous at all, and it just struck me as not everything is right in there. Not everything in terms of the relationship between the board and Lenny is right, and that still concerns me.
But actually, I don't mind the fact that Lennon wants to sign the best players, and equally I don't mind the fact that at times Peter Law and the board will say, actually, we're not going to sign that. I don't mind that. The bit that I thought was when it got towards the end of the transfer window, it seemed a wee bit chaotic, and they didn't seem to have a plan B. Now, that's just my perception of it. That doesn't mean that's right. I just thought if you got to the Saturday of the transfer window and you still hadn't really signed what we thought was a striker that we felt we needed, then that to me didn't sound as if the strategy was
that leads on to actually another issue which is interesting in that the Saturday was the closing of our transfer window in Scotland. However, in the rest of Europe it was extended until 11 o'clock on Monday night. However, our powers that be decided that they weren't going to follow the UEFA guidance
this time.
That was interesting.
This time,
even as Paul 67 says, even Jim Farry consulted calendars in relation to understanding why was the punishment that they decided to not when the transfer window closes is when it expires, not naming a specific
But in actual
date.
fact, it was more around, and I'm not trying to defend it, but I think it was more around the fact that a Saturday, the 31st was a Saturday, and I think UEFA gave the option of closing your window then or extending it to the Monday.
The last time it fell on a Saturday, Vincent, they moved it to the Monday. This time they didn't. So why did they not move it to the Monday? Was because of a wee team in the second division
whose transfer embargo
finished on the 31st, and they're then left with potentially them buying a player when they shouldn't have been able to buy a player.
I wouldn't have marked anyone. Couldn't have bought a player anyone. They had money to buy a player.
I know they've got no money, and actually I was hoping they would extend it, and then Rangers would buy a player and go further into debt
and go quicker.
Bring it forward their next administration event.
Okay, so I'm going to take things in sequence, so we'll need to hang fire a bit before we talk about the draw. And our next game was against Dundee United, and I'm going to give you the team as I saw it, which will probably be
on a Friday.
And accurate.
What sequence are you using?
The reverse sequence.
The reverse sequence. I'm going to take Dundee United first. So I'm going to take this out of sequence here.
Out of sequence.
We'll edit that.
He's at Lanark time.
We'll quickly jump to Dundee United, then we'll go back because I want to spend a bit of time on the draw actually, because it's a pretty good draw. So I'll give you the team and then you'll correct me once I've gave you it. It's Forster, Lustig, Izagiri, Ambrose, Van Dijk,
Dalglish wasn't playing.
Brown, sorry, I'll take him out. Ledley, Commons, Samaras, Stokes and Boraita. Is that right? Is that 12, 13 or is that 9?
Samaras wasn't it?
Samaras.
Oh, you're joking.
He's going to rag a game. Samaras was on holiday in Greece.
You can get a job for the mainstream media, Vincent.
These are straight off the Celtic website.
Aye, seriously? Straight off
Right, so if we go on there, should they be then?
This is a shambles.
Matthews was they playing? Was Matthews playing against the United?
Matthews was playing on
It's Matthews.
He was playing right midfield, wasn't it?
It's Matthews. Okay. Just detail, let's not worry about it. Let's not sweat the detail, eh?
Why have you got Van Hooijdonk written down?
Vincent, is that out of sequence?
As well as
And that's actually the team that played against Shakhtar Dundee Utd.
You've probably done it.
No,
That's
it's
for
not.
helping. So, first of all, who was at the game?
Me.
Kevin?
Just Kevin, me there, Brian?
No.
The Conley brothers there?
Flag on the telly.
Flag on the telly, yeah.
Was it?
Spotted.
I didn't see it.
Of course it was. I got there at 11 o'clock.
You were just leaving at 11 o'clock.
Hey, settle. I was there at 11. That was half 11.
So, talk us through it, Kev.
First half thought was really good. Disappointed that we hadn't went into half time a couple of goals up. The team looked quite up for it.
Right.
Thought the second half was pretty poor. It reminded me of the performance in the second half against Aberdeen a few weeks ago. Great goal for Stokes. Has anyone heard the injury? Lustig?
He's alright. He's walking and they were saying he could play on Friday.
It looks like a bad one right in front of him.
Assault.
He hadn't even. I didn't think it was.
It was assault. Gunning. He had done it in the first half and he shouldn't have been on the pitch.
He got offered a 3-match. Well, he got offered a 3-match.
He's declined.
What for? For the first one? Aye, for the first half. Aye.
I thought he was an
See, actually, the cause.
It's not the first time it's happened.
Kevin, the cause of Lustig's injury wasn't. It didn't mean that, but his actual challenge, which resulted in that, was outrageous challenge. He had no chance of getting the ball.
And he took him kind of waist high.
As soon as he went down, he was yelling. He was right in front of us. That we were in the George Fox. Is it the George Fox stand?
Well, the guy's full weight landed on his calf.
He looked in a bad way. But going back to the game, I thought. I was critical of him a couple of weeks ago in the last podcast. Van Dijk, I thought he was excellent. Looked strong,
marauding forward. I thought was quite impressive.
I thought
good effort.
The volley effort that just went by the post and he was outside the box. I mean, the other one was good as well when he beat 3-4 players and went through.
And it was just over.
And actually took a bobble just as he was about to hit it.
And do you know who was the co-commentator? Andy Walker, was it?
Andy Walker, aye.
A total lack of composure. What? He's a centre half. He's just beat 3 man and he tried to dink the keeper. Lack of composure.
Still a bit concerned about the balance up front. Stokes' won us that game on Saturday and heavily helped us win the game against Shakhtar. But I'm just not convinced he's the answer. And I think he's a good enough player, but I just feel that the formation we've got our wide players. What we need now is our centre forward just to have the mentality that it never comes out the box. Don't if you come out the box, touch it away and get straight back in the box. I don't think he's got that penalty box.
I don't think Pookie is that either. I don't think this Pookie is either.
So that's why I don't feel the balance is right up front yet. I think we're missing that someone with that killer instinct.
I don't know. I think Stokes is more than good enough for the SPL. I do think I would agree with you to an extent for European games, but then you play slightly differently anyway. So,
Brian, do you think it's about time he got a decent run? Because he's certainly on form, Stokes. Do you think it's about time we actually just gave him a run? Because I've heard this argument about he's alright for the league, but he's not alright for Europe. I think he's good enough. I just don't think he's been given a long enough run. I think he could score goals.
I don't rate him as much as other people are listed at Parkhead. I don't rate him as. I don't think he's that. He's a good enough player, but I don't think for a Celtic centre forward. No. So that's me living in the past. That's me living in the past. I'm expecting better.
Has he got a touch of the Samaras's about him? And he's not a number 9. He's a player that's got the ability to score goals, but also
he might link up play.
See the chance in the second half, and he brought the ball got whipped right across, and he actually brought the ball halfway up. He could have controlled it halfway up his body with his leg and brought it into the box, and it should have been a penalty.
Aye.
I think that could be his best position, but you've got Samaras wants to play in that side, and you've got the other Dutch boy,
Borector.
You know what I mean?
See one guy that we're maybe again treating as a striker, and he's maybe actually a striker.
I think he's a striker.
I do as well.
He's a very greedy player. He's a greedy player. He is a striker. He's a greedy player.
I definitely think he's a striker.
And Jenky's a good enough striker. Then.
When you'd seen that, his run, what you were talking about, was it break into the box? His run against Shakhtar Dundee Utd came from midfield and he ran.
Shakhtar Dundee Utd.
What game was that?
Carrigan.
Oh my God, you're right.
See that sequence?
Good move, a wee hole there. Just
That was the right team after all.
I mean, the run
when he picked the ball up and
fantastic.
ran, you know, you could put the argument, but I just think he's a centre forward, everybody. I think he's linked
But Jenky's a good enough centre forward.
Kevin's on his third London
I think
fancy.
that might be
what I'm going to say about Anthony Stokes is he's only 24. You know what I mean?
He seems to have been around forever.
Is he?
That's what he is. Ask me this question 2 years, when he's 26.
I might not be here in 2 years, Peter. I want to know the news, son.
No, you're not.
This will be the longest podcast of years.
2 years. Magic. So we're happy with that.
Put it this way, I'd rather have him than no him.
There's quite a lot of niggling tackles in. Do you think it was a bit tasty at times, wasn't it, the whole game? I thought Brown was quite lucky to get away with his.
You see Lennon Jackie having a go at one another.
I don't think he never took his hand at the end. I don't think.
No, he didn't shake hands.
No, because and Dan Jackson's one of their coaches, and he was going down the touchline, and Lenny shouted, and you could make it out as clear as day. I didn't hear it, but he was shouting over to them, and it all came from at the end of the first half.
That's right.
Celtic at the corner, and the linesman and the referee blew for the whistle. Lennon wasn't happy.
Aye.
And then obviously the second thing happened, and they were well into injury time, and they got a corner, and they went up to that Callum Murray, and he was saying, he's like, you could see that happened in the first half, and you blew the whistle. And not only a second turn he passed when he was giving them abuse, and the referee blew the whistle and gave.
But it's so unusual.
Then McNamara was like, it's only because he's a
but it is unusual. It's very unusual. You don't often see that.
But the thing is, the referee got himself into the corner by doing it with Celtic in the first half. It was ridiculous. So he was told never to do that. Just let the corner be taken, and
save yourself the bloody hassle. Do you know what I mean?
Just like two former teammates.
And do you know what? I don't think. See, if Lenny hadn't have complained at the end of the first half, I bet you the referee would have let it go.
I agree.
No, the way he was complaining at the end of the second half, he was going ballistic.
Because he didn't look
Callum
as if
Murray was pointing right in his face, and then obviously McNamara felt that the whistle only went because Lennon was giving him abuse. But in actual fact, you could see Lennon saying, it happened in the first half, and we're well into injury time now.
Well, it was it was over the 5 minutes. They had played, obviously, with Lustig's injury. It was like 5 minutes, 5 seconds.
Goes around,
I think he played very well, didn't he, United? I
thought the second half, I thought organised. That boy at the back was dirty.
I thought it was tasty at times, and actually,
your captain's no an angel.
Brown was lucky, actually. He was lucky.
Yes, I see.
Did you see Stokes at the free kick? So the ball was placed in, the referee moved away, and Stokes pulled it back about a yard.
Wasn't it? Come on, don't say a yard. A yard's 3 feet. He took it back 12 inches, which is
regardless of that, he shouldn't have done it, but it was actually good because it gave him that extra.
It was that.
Many balls when the referee goes away,
move forward.
Well, do you know, Stokes made a great point over Twitter. See, if you look at it, see what he moved it back because the referee didn't move the ball 10 yards back. It actually meant he got the 10 yards the ball should be back. So there was no cheating.
But you said
excuse me, I never said there was cheating. No, sorry, he pulled the ball back, and it gave him a better.
Vincent, when did I say you were cheating? You said cheating.
That's the accusation I felt there.
Well, it wasn't, because I was going to, if you hadn't interrupted, tell you why I mentioned the word cheating. Because David Tanner at the end of the game with Neil McCann was desperate to get Neil McCann to say he cheated by moving it back, and he was trying every which way he could to say you didn't deserve to score the Fenian bastard. That's what he was trying to do, honestly.
But I guess by the letter of the law, if the referee places the ball, I guess you're not supposed to move it. I don't care. Actually, I think he did the right thing.
But see, by the letter of the law and the rules, the Wolves should be 10 yards away from the ball.
I agree with that.
Ball.
But I think the point being is that you don't normally see it. It was quite cute, and I actually think it was. It probably gave him that wee bit.
Because he moved it to 12 inches back when the referee was counting out at 10 yards, of course.
That's the point I made.
And not a single person commented on it. Not a single Dundee United player pointed and said he's moved that ball back. Absolutely nothing. So for it to be made a big thing of after the match just shows you that they're hurting so much that they'll grab at any straw to try and
David Tanner was sick and they were so happy. So happy.
However, his brown brogue will look smashing.
How Andy Walker spotted it, I don't know, but it was actually him that pointed it out.
He did, but he didn't say there was anything wrong with it before he took it. It was an observation. He said he's moving it back a foot at a yard. He did say to try and get it up over the wall.
Tell you what, see the boy in the wall above there, the top. You see they must have been about an inch.
I know he didn't. He didn't jump back. It was one of the ones I'm not want to jump high enough to get it.
Keeper never moved. It was
perfect.
The goalie done that, but just like the ball in the net that he's jumping for.
Sarah in there.
It was hit perfect.
But to be honest, the second half was a bit disappointing. It was a bit like Aberdeen, where they started playing well within themselves, I felt. And it's just a wee bit worry when we're having so much possession and throughout a game that we're not actually managing to score a bit more goals, because that's a single goal victory up at Aberdeen, a single goal victory there.
Draw in Inverness as well.
Draw against Inverness at Celtic.
I mean, I was more than happy, but on the back of a big result like that, I was
a great
more
result.
than happy with
Great
that.
result.
And Lennon actually came out and said that. He said, I feel as if some of them are starting to learn what's required.
Grind out a result.
Almost.
That's a fair comment.
And the big Dutch boy didn't seem to touch the ball many times in the second half. Winger.
No, he was struggling.
He'll take a bit of settling in.
Sorry, that was a very difficult. I was up with
no much space.
McLaughlin. It's a tight old pitch to play somebody who it looks to me as if he just loves hugging the touchline. And he came over to the right hand side. He is very, very one-footed. Kind of played in front of us in the second half, and there was periods where it was just came and he just wanted to get on his left peg all the time. I mean, doing anything going on his left.
I actually think this break a fortnight, like with the international, will help him. Because to me, he doesn't look fit. You see when he come on in the European tie, he just didn't look.
I think it's good we've got him for he'll know Ajax inside
That's
out.
Right, I came out and spoke about that. He'll know their strengths, weaknesses. So we've got insight there.
Know the tactics,
So with John Parton, so...
but I think someone in the inside it does make a big difference. And the fact that it's so recent.
They lost it, the two of their best players.
That's what he was saying.
And they've lost a further one to injury.
A collapsed lung. Their captain. He's got to boot for the next 6 months or so. He's got a collapsed lung.
There's a conveyor belt,
I know, but I mean that's three big players.
Four if you include the...
I fancy to finish third. There you go.
Sorry?
I fancy to finish
Vincent, listen, I'm going to need to do some editing with us to get it back into order.
Hey, you're going to need to edit this bit as well, because I want to just talk briefly about Hearts and then spend a bit of time on
Hearts?
the draw. So our next game is with the Diet Huns. No, it's no. We're going to be fortnightly, so it's the 14th. On the week on Saturday.
A week on Saturday.
So Hearts at Tynecastle. Who's gone, Kevin?
No, I didn't apply for tickets. They applied for them like 6 months ago, so they could get money and decided it was the start of August. You need to put your application in for a game. In fact, I'm sure it was actually last week in July. So it didn't put anything in. To be honest, the last
you
time
weren't going anywhere back there.
Well,
you and Keelan.
I might see if I can get. I went last season once.
Oh, did you?
But I'd maybe see if I can get a ticket.
And at that point, we weren't sure if they were going to survive, so it was maybe.
And it was the same last year. It was towards the end of the season. It was 8 weeks before the game. You need to apply for the tickets. They take the money off you straight away. Do you know what I mean? They were a bit dodgy, but I mean, I'll see when it comes closer to close to the event, I think, get my hands on them.
And I'm quite interested with Hearts this season. I was sitting, taking off their 15 points and
stay up. I want them to get annihilated.
liquidated.
No, well, that would be nice, but and failing that, annihilated, go down to the first division, meet their zombie cousins who would go up, and then the two of them fight out for a single place. Because to be honest, there's a chance that our zombie foes would not actually manage to.
Well, they might start next season with a points deficit as well. You never know.
Possibly.
But I would love for Celtic to go there and absolute crushing. I think 4 or 5 or 6.
That would be nice.
We've had a few right good hammerings of them there recently.
And a 4-0 at half time, and then the Heart song comes on, and then they'd sing that ha 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 ha. I remember doing it one time, and boys were trying to invade the pitch, and I think for the Hearts end, they just couldn't handle it. It was just magnificent.
I'm really looking forward to it again. I wasn't really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it.
Sure, I don't even know any of their players or anything.
I'll be a Marshall Summer whose job that's a BT Sport game.
Oh, was it? Oh, excellent. So it'll be a Saturday morning at Marshall's.
Is it the early kick-off?
It's a 12:30.
On a Saturday?
On a Saturday the 14th. Excellent.
Yeah,
Okay. So, and what came after that? Obviously.
What came after that the day before?
First of all, who watched the draw live? I watched it live as well.
I watched the build-up to it.
I read on
the website
because I thought it was 4:30 and it was 5:15.
Oh, did you only start watching it at 4:30? I was on for 4 o'clock. Aye.
It was on, and then everybody in the office was watching it, and I realised, what are you all doing on that computer? They've been there for the last half hour, and then the penny dropped. I'm like, alright, there you go.
It got it did get quite exciting. I didn't watch all of the build-up, but the actual draw part of it is really quite exciting, isn't it? And they do it quite Hollywood. It was fantastic.
I thought it was pish until Pot D came out. Once Pot D comes out, it's fine. See all that Pot A and clubs I'm not even interested in.
It would have been better if they had done Celtic Sport first, if you know what I mean. Then you would have been picked.
With Big Billy picking them out.
You still been working it in reverse? So that's not bad. I never thought that.
If you're sitting with
so you're wondering who's going to go in.
Wonder who's going to get in your group.
But I disagree, because when you see the pots, I disagree with Kevin, sorry, you dislike the first part, because you see the pots and you're like, I text wee Blantyre Kev saying, just avoid pot H. Look at it, it's good.
Pot A, B, C, D, E, Chelsea.
I didn't want them either.
There was four teams had come out, I think, and so there was 4 remaining, and I just thought we're just going to land straight into that.
I didn't want that.
Chelsea.
I wanted to Real Madrid. I definitely.
No, it'd be carnage in Glasgow, and you would have had to go down to London, and it would have been no women and children, and you had to be able to prove you could go 10 rounds with Mike Tyson before you were allowed your ticket. It would have been you'd been tough down there.
So the draw was, for those who don't know, Barcelona, AC Milan and Ajax, and I reckon this might be the first time there's been 4 winners in one group, is that right?
Aye, 4 champions.
4 champions.
17 Champions League or European Cup wins in the group. I mean, Ajax have got 4.
Team must have jumped through the hoops and said to themselves, "Yeah, dance at it."
It just shows you how
Champions Group.
It just shows you how you
Champions Group.
Did you see the calls on the Milan website? What was the word they used?
Dougie said to me it was the group of nobility.
Nobility, that was right. The group of nobility.
I like that. It just shows you how used to being at this level we are now, that actually some of the reaction was that kind of Barcelona.
Aye.
Someone tweeted it was brilliant. The new firm. NOU as in the stadium.
I like it, Brian. Very clever.
It's 5 times we've had them.
I'd love Real Madrid or something like that, just to have something different.
Aye, but I'm still delighted.
But actually, it's a fantastic group. It's going to be some games.
And do you know, I know Kevin's saying there, I think we can finish third. I mean, you never know. A few draws in that group between the other teams, and it's perfectly feasible of happening. I reckon we could get second.
Let's face it, we're not going to beat Barcelona at Celtic Park again.
Hey, why? Why not?
Why not?
Honestly, why not?
Well,
Because they're a better football team than us.
The Celtic's record at the Park
It's going to be superb.
It is, but out of 3 games against Barcelona, Barcelona have won 2 and we've won 1.
See, we didn't beat Ajax the last time at Celtic Park, but we were already beating them away.
Qualified, didn't we? I was at
Well, we hadn't qualified, we'd beat them 3-1. But we drew with them 1 each, didn't we?
No, we beat 2-1 doing that.
Was it
1-0,
2-1?
1-0, that's right. If they scored another goal, they would have been through.
No.
No, they wouldn't.
They wouldn't have been through. They had to get 3 goals.
Aye.
But it beat us 1-0.
I was at that game.
Was it just 1-0?
No, it was 1-0.
The Amsterdam arena. You know Amsterdam
No,
for
I
that game? No?
No, it wasn't in that game.
That was it. That was another cranny extravaganza. Fell asleep again.
Jim? I know. Celtic have scored 47 goals in Europe at games Jim's been to. He's only seen 3. He's been soaking the rest.
So who's lining up a trip? Is anybody? The one after I quite fancy going back to Ajax.
That was my 40th birthday last week.
Happy birthday, Brian.
And my brother's kindly
And sister.
And sister, sorry. My brother's and sister got me a European trip to one of their games as my birthday present. So
And is it are you picking because of
I would
pick Milan if I was you.
think we're going to Ajax. Well, I've been to Barcelona a couple of times and I've been to Milan.
It was just because that was the dearest one. So
Right. But I've never been to Ajax, so I think that's where we're. I think that's where we're going.
So we got him that for his birthday, and then we seen that Thomas Cook were canned, and we thought, oh, you're beauty.
We'll get it cheap.
And then it's Thompson's, and it's double the price almost. So double the price, so he's getting hee-haw.
No,
well, the Milan trip.
You can wait till
he's
Europa
put
League.
me as a foot passenger on the ferry from Newcastle.
It takes 4 days. 4 days there, 4 days back.
You can sleep in the berth.
That's what I quite fancy doing. I quite fancy doing a ferry or a boat trip. That's it.
I had Dougie on the phone tonight. I had Dougie on the phone.
Oh, don't begin listeners' secrets. Trade secrets away here.
I just left Dougie. That's what he was talking to me about.
Alright, so there's possible chances, right? Okay.
You go for Carluke, by the way.
Aye, direct.
Train for Carluke.
James Carluke.
Aye? To where? Edinburgh?
Newcastle. And
Oh, right, you're going right.
Aye.
Right, so that's all the listeners know how we're getting there. Well, I know it is 4 folk download it, so.
What is about 2004? It's mid-boat.
It's alright, aye.
You can get an outside cabin.
I mean, is it a tent?
Is it a casino?
Right,
Is it a
outside.
disco?
Hey, he's moving already. He's all excited. He's not going to the game. He's just staying in the boat.
He falls out with you in discos.
Right, that's right.
You're not allowed to go.
These are always fighting out the same guy.
Leave me alone.
That was virgin and homophobic.
Yeah, it was a wee bit. Sorry about that.
We're an all-inclusive club.
Dear. Aye, so
Everybody's wanting to go to Amsterdam then, I take it.
I'm quite fancying that.
Well, AC Milan's in 2 weeks.
I didn't like Milan. I went to Milan and I didn't
Did
particularly
I
like
see
Milan.
that right? Was it £353 or
Yeah,
something?
335
But they reckon,
plus the cost of the
and
ticket.
it was tweeted that
It's a
actually
gate in and
that
out.
was Celtic making sod all off it, and that doesn't justify it. But they're not making a profit on that. That's the price. But
What's it for Amsterdam?
I don't know what it was. I don't know what the
Amsterdam's
official
not,
one was.
Celtic haven't released Amsterdam yet. They've only released in Milan.
Milan.
£335, but it's leaving at 7:30 in the morning.
I
and
don't-
going back after the game.
If Celtic aren't making anything off it, why do they have a travel partner? So I don't buy that.
Well, that's
to
the
say.
official word.
Right. Some of the tweets have been good. What is it? We'll be smoking the doobies and looking at boobies. We're going to the dam and you're no. Tell all the house you know.
Thanks, Museum's lovely.
It's quite a welcoming place, you know. You can go. There's all these
Beautiful art
places you can
galleries.
get to the toilet and get a wee wash.
Oh,
you know
aye,
what I mean?
definitely.
For a wee
Yep.
shower and-
Okay, that's plenty,
you
Peter.
know what I mean?
Thanks for that.
It's,
Peter, you seem to know an awful lot about this.
I've no idea what he's talking about.
He seems to know an awful lot about it, though.
Jolly Roger.
The concern I have is
It's
around
tickets.
about tickets, because Andy I've spoken to who's looking to go to a game are all looking to go to Ajax, because we've been to Barcelona so many times and we've been to Milan so many times. Milan's 2 weeks away, Barcelona's I think
December.
6th of December.
This is November, isn't it? Ajax is November, I think.
November, aye.
Barcelona's actually the cheapest one to go.
Aye.
You can fly to Barcelona for £106.
Well, there's not any flights left for Ajax. I think they were all sold within hours. So
the problem with Ajax is trying to get home for Ajax.
Why?
You get to Ajax, you can go the ferry route.
Can you not get back that way?
You can, but you need to take another day off your work, doesn't get back into Friday.
Well, don't worry about that. That's the least of
You're just working the boat. You're working from home that day, Peter.
Just link up with the satellite, Peter. That's a doddle. Me, you and Kevin, you'll all be working that day. Okay, so we're looking forward to that. Smashing.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, 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 tock.
Remember, you can get in touch via Twitter, Facebook, our website with thank, and our email address, Brian, which is
Gmail.
mail@carlukeshamrock.com. Okay, so we've got a few hot topics this week. First one I wanted to talk about was the Peter Lawal appointed to the SFA board.
Oh,
What did we make of that?
the zombies
Again,
apoplectic.
Twitter was
quality. Just magnificent. John Reid's 5-year plan. It was just magnificent. Did you get to see that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
They actually believe, and honestly, the Vatican were coming into this. Everything.
Celtic fans are noising them up, but they're like, look at the new painting. Here's Peter Lawal in the first board meeting at the SFA, and it showed you
chapel,
the Pope sitting in the Sistine Chapel with all the cardinals round about him and stuff. And part of that thread was talking about, they went through every kind of senior office bearer in the SFA, and they were like, or
linking
on the
them
board,
all.
and they're like it's not Regan's an English RC whose brother teaches Irish politics and stuff
Irish
like that.
history.
Oh man, can they make it up?
And then they were saying
Michael Johnson, the Commander Chairman, who's a total zombie sympathiser.
he's called Michael.
Honestly, God, man,
Like
can they make it
about,
up?
what was it? With the Reagan appointment, Stuart Reagan appointment, whatever his name is. They're saying he's friendly with John Reid's son.
Oh well, there it is. There's the
So they're
connection.
saying John Reid got him in there,
It's a
and
killer
he
connection.
used to work beside
John Reid's son worked behind somebody else that was
next to
implicated in
Peter.
that.
Honestly, it's just
Tenuous
so
links.
ridiculous. There,
So is the unseen Fenian hand now the seen Fenian hand? Has he played his hand?
Have you seen that big matrix of the unseen Fenian hand?
No.
That someone put together. A zombie put it together, honestly. You wouldn't believe it.
Absolutely.
But one of the mind chaps,
Mind maps.
unbelievable.
He's something to talk about.
But I think
Actually, it's quite a significant appointment.
They are in
actually.
meltdown. They are in meltdown.
Aye. And I would agree it is a significant appointment. I only hope that a lot of the things get sorted. They're a corrupt organisation who've bent over backwards to assist a club that cheated, and they've not been punished, the old club.
But the risk being, had he had been in that position 2 years ago, then it would have looked as if it was us doing them in, when in actual fact it was themselves doing.
But they still think
themselves
that
in.
anyway. They still think it was.
I still think
it
Lawal
was everybody else's fault in
So
Scotland.
not necessarily thinking about them, but thinking about other clubs who
and
eventually
neutral thinking that.
who eventually realised that they were their own. It was their own
I think
downfall.
everybody.
I can't see how they're upset at the moment, because their team's playing well.
Playing very well.
well.
Still in the Ramsden Cup.
They're talking about scoring 100 goals this season, easy. Going to go unbeaten the full year, going to win every game.
Aye, it's so deja vu, isn't it?
I don't know why they're upset.
Chick Young thinks that team would finish second, didn't they?
Oh, I do. I mean,
And there's going to be a final against Celtic.
Yeah,
for
so a
them.
right good chance.
aye,
That's
a
good.
very good
But
chance.
we're not in the Ramsden Cup, are we?
No,
Oh, right, okay. So it's less
they're in the League Cup.
Maybe they're not in the League
They're
Cup.
out of that.
Did they not play in that this year?
No, I think they could be a big team, was it? 4 of them.
I thought they were seeded. Okay, Brian, what about the transfer window? What was your feelings of the transfer window? We brought in Timu Pukki, Nirbiton, and last minute out went Tony Watt.
A lot more than that.
I know, but this was just towards the end, Brian. Just talking to you, it was the other Brian.
Well, we were already talking earlier about the Peterborough kind of idea. I would have liked to see him getting a left back.
Aye.
I would like, just for the balance of the team, I think a left back was needed.
I think that they tried to get the boy from Man U and loan, but due to the differential in the transfer window, Man U weren't willing to release him at that point until they get cover.
Right, and they ended up not getting cover.
They ended up not getting cover in it. So.
That's a disappointing thing for me as the left back. I thought we should have got a left back. We'll not know what the Finnish players like. You need to see them.
It's a good finisher.
Here we go.
Mind that call where
Kevin, the paranoia starting on it.
Do you remember that call? To the radio quite phone in the boy that's saying he thought Antoniemi should be the Scotland goalie. And the panel's like, but no, it can't be, he's Finnish. And he's like, he's no finished. He's about 28. I don't remember that. But the thing is, it went on for about 2 minutes. I'm trying to convince the guy, no, he's finished. He's finished. He's no Scottish. He's from Finland.
But then he kicked straight on to something else, the boy. Didn't he just accept it?
So probably unknown quantities then. Pukki and Bitton. Although Bitton, there was a strange thing about Bitton saying that he went for a trial at Man City, but there was what was it? A diplomatic incident or something like that prevented him from joining Man City, and it never went on to explain what that was.
Aye, it was. Aye.
So something to do, it was either his nationality or his religion or whatever it was.
But he's an Israeli boy, and Man City are sponsored by
Etihad.
Aye.
Is that
was there no something to do with
that? Is it related to that? I don't know. I just know that's what they quoted.
Sponsored by Muslims,
16 caps or something he's got for Israel.
Don't know.
I'm not enjoying it.
The guy seems to have
flags everywhere then.
Yeah. He seems to have a good pedigree, the guy. You know,
seems to be. Him and
he's a big guy, like.
He's a big guy. 6'4".
So we'll not realise what they're like until they've settled down. In the same way as 2 years ago, Victor joined, and for the first half of the season didn't come off the bench very often, and then played a few games in a row and started building a reputation within the team, which makes me laugh at people that are saying it's ridiculous that we get rid of the spine of the team and we're signing people that nobody have ever heard of. Because 2 years ago
we all knew about Victor
and Hooper and
Vincent had scouted Hooper. Thought he wouldn't score any goals. same as Pukki.
So I don't think you should be expecting him to step into the team and be contributing within the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Interestingly, both of them are in the Champions League squad today. Are not to start.
So I would expect him to be, but
especially Pukki.
I don't think any of the two of them will play in the away game against Milan. They'll go 4-5-1, and I would expect them to probably have Sammy up top again.
Aye. Is that our first game?
That's 2 weeks tonight.
2 weeks, aye.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow, that's quick. Oh no, baby.
And I'm hoping somebody like, although he wasn't signed this time, but maybe Roger will start to see a bit of him.
I think he's off young yet. I think he needs more time to settle. Do you know, I really hope that he turns out to be a good player. I've just not seen any of it yet. I'm just hoping that it's because he's not settled. But I don't think he's. I think he looks ponderous.
I think he
sometimes.
needs a game, right?
Maybe he does. I don't think his fitness looks good.
Sorry, Brian, what'd you say?
I think he needs a run of the games.
You know what I mean?
Like 3 or 4 games. I don't think just put him in and bring them back out. It's not going to help him.
I'm not sure if we've won a game when he started.
Won a game at Inverness when he played up last season.
But I think he's intentionally put him into games like games like Motherwell where he actually get lumps kicked to him, and I think he's intentionally put him in there to potentially
toughen him up a wee bit. Maybe.
The only thing I thought we really missed a trick in this transfer window right at the very start of it. I thought we should have said, I was still going about Johnny Russell. I can't believe we let him go away to Dad.
You reckon?
Aye, I thought we should have signed him.
I don't know.
I just don't know that that's what we needed. That's all. I think he's a good player. I just don't know that he was the player that we need. I would love to have seen us get somebody like I don't know much about them, but say Lee Tomlin or Billy Sharp or some of these guys, guys that are just...
We've tried that, Vinny. Big guy up front, we've tried it.
Well, Sharp isn't really your kind of big guy up front. I mean, he's a poacher. He's more in the mould of kind of hooper, and he's got a good goal scoring wrist. Somebody like that. I was hoping we would get a sniffer or a poacher. I don't know if Pookie is going to be that, but he didn't seem to be that kind of player.
To me, it's good goals ratio last year, Pookie.
To me, it seems a shame that we're glossing over or passing over, I should say, Johnny Russell. In preference for going for somebody that you've just said they have never heard of, playing in the lower depths of the English. What division is he even playing in? Who's he play for? Peterborough?
Plays for Southampton. Talking about Lee
Tomlin. Who's he play for?
Peterborough.
What division are they in?
The first.
So is that not the Championship? The actual first or third? So the third division are they?
I don't know.
No, the Championship.
They were in the Championship last year. Still in the Championship.
I think they're in the Championship.
So I find it a shame that we're passing over somebody like Johnny Russell, who I think was a standout for Dundee United.
But I don't think he's, from my point of view, he's not the poacher. I was looking for a sniffer or a poacher. I don't think Johnny Russell's that. I just wanted somebody more the kind of predator guy, a guy who just sniffs out goals. And I wouldn't really care what league we got him for, to be honest. I just don't think we brought somebody in, and that was Hooper for me. I don't think we've really replaced him. Well, we might have.
Well,
we don't know.
Do you know what?
We don't know.
You don't know what. None of us know what the manager's thinking and what they might have brought Timu Pukki in to be that man.
Interestingly, he described him as having, a good touch, and it was again, he described him as a bit of a project, but he felt that he could do, and actually, if they do with him what they did with Hooper, because Hooper was raw when he came and when he left, he was twice the player he was when he arrived. They might be thinking they're going to do the same. This guy might have the attributes for that.
Yeah. What concern are we about Pukki? Maybe they want to put him, but Schalke had 3 injuries to striker. He still couldn't get a game. No.
He scored the goals for them because he was coming on as a sub. He's got a better goals per minute ratio, almost as good as Hoopers for last season.
That's what I'm saying. Why? To me, why did they not play him?
I don't know the answer to that, but I know that his
Could you find it?
Goals per minute ratio is very good, and in a far tougher league to what we're playing.
So just quickly around the table then, how do you feel we've came out the transfer window? Stronger, weaker?
I think as a team as now, again, I would say weaker.
Appears weaker.
But we don't know because we've not seen these guys play, and we're obviously not seen how they're going to develop in the team.
Brian?
But we kind of knew that was going to be the case.
Same as Brian, but I would have liked to have seen a left back and brought
a full back.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think the jury's out. Same again. You'll not know till you see these guys playing. But maybe better asking us around Christmas time.
You're always wanting a good couple of months.
This is sort of like
do you know what I mean?
podcast, isn't it?
Just answer the question. We're in the now.
I think it's an interesting question in that
Thanks very
you're
much.
talking about the team, but if you do it the other way and say the club.
Are you going to change the question then?
So is the club in a stronger position? I think the club is a far stronger position. Is the team in
that wasn't the
we're in the Champions League again, which is where we wanted to be. That was a bit of a risk we took in not having the team there in place before we started the qualifiers, but I guess playing 3 qualifiers every year from now on until the coefficient goes up, I think that challenge is going to be there every year for the next number of years.
Unless you can get it settled.
St John's done us a wee turn this year.
But they didn't, because you don't get any coefficient points before the certain. No, their 2 victories were so early in the competition. You don't get any coefficient points. You don't get any coefficient points until the qualifier there. Until that game last week.
Jeez.
So that's why
that's irrelevant.
So that's a bit of a challenge. But in terms
it's always going to be the case. For the foreseeable future.
It goes without saying that when you lose your top goal scorer and
your central midfielder and your central
defender, your prize asset at 12 million quid, and a central defender who I think has last season, I think we spoke about him being given a chance. People shouldn't have given up on him, and I thought he came great during the season.
Right, did
it goes without saying that the actual team's weaker, but I think the club's
I don't know that it does, but
how does it see this a rankings thing with coefficient? A lot of folk were talking about it. How's Man City above us? You're ranked 62 in Europe, that's what you're ranked.
Apparently it goes with your country.
Country coefficient.
That's what I'm saying, because Man City's coefficient can't be
But
very
they're right in the back
own-
of the country coefficient in a sense.
Their coefficient can't be very
So
good.
half of it's the country, is it half is
I
the
don't know
country
how
and
much
half
it's
is your own individual club?
So our detriment is from the country and how the dead club performed.
Basically, it doesn't matter how good a team you are if you're from a shit country, or how bad a team you are if you're from a good country. It's all geared to the big 4 or 5 countries.
Yeah. 5-year cycle.
I mean, look at
That's
Bruce
5 years.
Pot 3. Pot 3.
Aye. I have to say, I didn't quite understand that
When
one.
did I couldn't understand it.
But obviously, they've just not been in Europe.
They've not been in Europe because they 7 or 8
But
years ago they were close to going down the
I
planet.
know, but it's still
And
pot
it's Man
3.
City. This is my point.
No, but they have. Man City have been in Europe now for the last five seasons. They've been in
3 or 4
the
years,
Europa
yeah.
League. They got to the quarter-finals like 2 years ago or something. It's only that season there where they get pumped out the Champions League, and even that they won. They won a certain number of games.
See,
They won
just-
games in the Champions League last season, just in the qualifiers.
Sorry to move on, but the qualifiers next year, did you hear
Aye,
that we
Murrayfield.
might be playing at Murrayfield?
That's one of the
Because
points here, son. You just reading my notes now.
no,
What's that all about then?
because
it's the
Commonwealth
Commonwealth
Games,
Games,
the pitch wouldn't be
29th of July is the opening
Ready.
ceremony.
Because the Scottish Cup final and the League Cup final won't be at Hampden this year.
no.
Because
Why don't we play
it goes down to 30,000
I
capacity.
know this is a big ask, but why? This is when I couldn't understand. Why do we just not give our neighbours a wee turn?
No, because it's
They
been
can't-
used
they
as
can't-
well.
They've got the rugby sevens in there.
I think that would be quite
Is it the
interesting.
rugby
actually, but-
sevens they're getting?
I think it'd be quite interesting, but is it?
Nah, they've got the rugby
We
sevens.
could bring European football back to them, you know what I mean? To give them a wee idea.
I think that'd be quite a good wee couple of trips out, but going to Murrayfield and stuff.
I
It's
think
only a
so.
few games, is it not?
So that's
6
But
o'clock
it's
up
no,
to 70.
these games are our biggest games of the
Aye, it's at
year.
Murrayfield.
It's so crucial for us to
Either
win.
that, they go to Dublin.
I'd rather do that.
Kilmarnock, another place was the
Honestly?
biggest. Kilmarnock's 18,000, Pittodrie's 22,000, Hibs was
What's Hibs now?
20,000.
Is
No,
it 20?
you can have it 20,000. You could have it a 20,000 seater stadium.
Yeah. It'll be Murrayfield, or maybe you could potentially be Old Trafford or something.
Nah, they wouldn't get as far down as that.
Nah, I don't think
St
so.
Well,
James's Park.
I think that'd be quite interesting, actually, just going to Murrayfield.
I think
for
it
a
will
couple
be
of games.
Murrayfield.
Can
It's
I
meant
just
to
make
be
a
a-
point
I've
about
never been in.
the
It's meant to be a
price
good-
of
sorry, on you go.
the Champions League package? I thought that was
Brilliant.
great. We
84
Celtic have
Aye.
it.
So essentially, with your season ticket reduction, you're getting the Champions League free
Aye.
this year.
That's quality, isn't it?
It's good. Aye, pretty good.
St James's Park would be good, wouldn't it?
No,
We'd just be back in
hate
the ferry.
Newcastle.
For Amsterdam.
Just go to the game.
Straight to the
It's a good point.
That's got me worried. And it's a year away.
Don't worry about it, Kev. You're all right,
Don't
son.
worry, so you're
You're right, two biggest games of the season.
three biggest.
So when did we play Cliftonville? It was the last week, the 23rd
July.
It's the
23rd of July.
The third qualifying game will be at Park.
We'll be at Park.
Aye, the Shakhtar one will be at Celtic
So the
Park.
Shakhtar equivalent, if we get
Aye.
that, if we get there, it'll be.
The closing ceremonies at Celtic Park as well of the Commonwealth
Aye,
Games.
but they
It's the
can.
first and second games that can be played at Park.
There you are. Okay, we'll come back to that, no doubt. Interestingly, but just in terms of the window, I think we'll potentially miss. I think we'll miss Hooper there, and we'll probably miss Wanyama.
I think so. When it comes to European games, I think we'll miss Super High. I do.
No, the European games, I think we'll miss Wanyama more than Hooper.
Because Hooper didn't even play against Barcelona.
As I said, he didn't play one at Celtic Park.
3 games.
But he scored home and away. He scored home and away.
I think it was 3 games out of 6 that he didn't play. The Champions League last year.
I think we'll miss.
Sorry, it was just a mere general point that I think we'll miss Hooper more than we will.
Generally,
But
I would agree.
I think we'll miss Kelvin Wilson more than Hooper.
there you are.
I don't know.
Next one, Stan Petrov game on Sunday. Who's all going to that? Is there a bus going to that, by the way?
McKeever was dealing with there is a bus going.
There is a bus, so.
Made a minibus order.
Mini bus ordered, I think.
Who's all going?
I've not got the tickets yet, and it's through laziness and nothing else. And I see it's nearly a sellout. I seen Tony Hamilton tweeting just before we came
Aye,
here.
it was over 50,000. So
Well, I
yesterday.
think he's talking now that it's over
That's
55.
just marvellous, isn't it?
That'll be fantastic, eh?
And
I think about 20,000 of them are One Direction fans. Screaming lassies.
So Declan actually said to me, because obviously Larson's playing and stuff, and about a week and a half ago says, I'll get the tickets, and I've just
I actually dropped into Celtic Park yesterday to try and get a Champions League one, and the queue was down Kerrydale Street.
Oh, is it?
Just turned around, and I was just happened to be passing, so I just turned around and left and went to work.
There's a fair number.
Are you going?
Aye, there's a fair number of
Flyby nights. Flyby nights.
Well, we've got Lupo, we've got Larson, we've got all these guys. Baldy's coming back. We've got Baldy, and the other team's quite interesting. John Terry's playing with them, I think.
Aye, he'll get a good reception. John Terry's a Celtic fan too.
Is he?
Aye.
Aye. Jamie Redknapp.
Hey, Kevin. That was Kevin's look-alike when he was young. He was playing for Falthouse Juniors, and someone said, "Oh, there's Jamie Redknapp." He was more like Keith fucking Check.
Harry Redknapp. Aye, I think it's definitely more Harry Redknapp.
Yeah, beauty.
Okay, and just because we can, we'll spend a couple of minutes on Shefko.
There's no need.
Aye, there is, because there was a couple of good funny ones today.
Released a 5-way agreement.
Aye, I read. Well, I didn't read it all.
He started deleting everything. Started deleting everything.
Aye, it's all going.
And the moniker's now got a gag on.
Aye, a girl with a gag over her mouth. And but again, the next day, Sunday or Sunday or Monday, he released a 5-way agreement.
Who did?
Aye, then did you listen to
it's just marvellous.
Did you listen to the SoundCloud cuttings of Craig White and is it David Greer, who was the guy from?
Yeah, I didn't listen to them.
And he was. He was talking about how many affairs he's had and stuff. And actually, his new girlfriend had come in and stuff like this. Oh my god, that's funny.
The other one, they were supposed to have this EGM, but they're trying to avoid EGM, but then they voted another 5 new folk back onto the board, I think.
Right, is that confirmed? Did that get confirmed today?
The board members, because John McClellan was one of them.
So I'm interested in this now, because there's, not so much John McClellan, but certainly Paul Murray. Surely can't be a director of.
Well, this was the funny thing. Did you not see Twitter just before you came in?
I've not seen anything today.
Because Jim Spence was doing the BBC programme tonight, and he was talking about it, and he raised that point. Surely there has to be a proper person's analysis, fit and proper person analysis of most of these people. He said, for example, because John McClellan was the chairman essentially of a club that died, and Twitter just erupted. It was absolutely brilliant, particularly who's the other guy, Chris Graham. Oh, it was fantastic. So he's posting up, if you want to complain against the BBC, here's the link, let's complain. And then guys are posting up, remember the BBC Trust had something, they're posting that up to say, oh, you know what I mean, this guy, you need to go back to us, they're repeating that stuff again, and it's just fantastic. It's great. It's one of the moments you get again, you think, oh, here we go.
So I don't know, I see, but that's just really strange that'll probably go through without any comment from SFA. I wonder if Peter Lawwell will bring that up.
He might raise it.
The reason why they didn't have an EGM was because it would cost another 80 grand.
I know.
Oh, that's just us.
I see that.
80 grand.
I went like, what?
Plus, I think what they were trying to do was incorporate it in, because they need to have an AGM within the next 7 weeks.
Sorry, I said that wrong. It was the EGM.
No, you're correct.
No, you're right. They
don't
want an EGM.
They don't want
what they're saying is they'll incorporate it all into the AGM.
They must have some size of board now.
Well, I think I'd take them up to about 10 or something.
So it's just a pity they've not got a luxury bus to carry them all.
Well, I think the bus guy got voted on and all. He was on.
McClellan. No, his brother's on as well now.
But can you imagine what the board meetings are going to be like now?
Is Walter back on?
Fantastic.
Is he still walking away?
Still out the window, I think.
So it'd be interesting to see, because they reckoned they weren't sure who had the most shares. Well, that's why they came to this agreement.
Because Charlie Sell them.
Okay, we'll not waste any more time on them. Okay, let's move on.
Shambolic.
Thanks, Chico. So for Shambolic tonight, I threw out to the panel the following. Given we're now back in the Champions League, we're going to reminisce a wee bit. I want the guys to tell me what has been your favourite European trip and why. And I understand that some some details and information cannot be disclosed, but given that caveat, who's going to kick us off with our favourite trip? Peter?
Well, obviously Seville was a great trip.
Aye.
But that was an obvious one. All your friends lying about a swimming pool for 5 days. Brilliant.
Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong. But I have to say,
I'm glad I wasn't there when it's out of you.
your first. Oh, you should have seen the goof there. You'll never forget that in a while.
Quench left.
Pair of bungee smugglers. The ship.
I dive.
And the shout went, who's that? And that? Who's
That
that?
came down the glass lift with the bungee smugglers on the tail running about, and it's a goof.
What side?
So what was your favourite then, Peter?
Well,
Have you been to France?
I was going to say it's my
Quite like
favourite
to go
one
to
was
France,
probably my
that's
first trip away. Just because it was my first trip away. It was Paris Saint-Germain.
Paris Saint-Germain.
I was a fly in and fly out. It cost us £200. I can't remember.
That's a lot of money then, Peter.
For God's sake, I was going to say it's
In the 60s,
only
was it?
333 to go now to
It
Ajax.
was £200 to fly in and fly out.
Same day?
That's when you were loaded.
And what it did is the plane landed.
Aye, that's the thing to do.
Aye.
You
The
hope.
buses were sitting outside the plane on the tarmac.
Aye.
You walked off the plane, went into the buses,
Straight
into Paris,
No, a chocolate bar, sorry.
dropped you off the middle of Paris. You went round about the Champs-Élysées and all that. That's where you get dropped off. Trying to get up the two unknown sharp, the Triumph, with a flag. And the boy says, no, you can't get up the flag. You got the flag.
That wasn't a
Aye,
Kevin.
that's what the boy says. He says you've been in jail.
Aye, it's an national monument.
You know.
Aye, you want to hang a tricolour for it? A green, white and orange tricolour, not a French tricolour.
I was at that game as well. I was at that game.
Can remember
What was the
going
song
to
you were
the-
singing about the Eiffel Tower? There was a song you used to sing it all the time, so you did.
I've never even seen the Eiffel Tower. See, we were there. I've never even seen it.
It was easy peasy down the Champs-Élysées. I remember that one, but I don't know.
That's
I remember the
What was the
Eiffel
score,
Tower.
by the way?
Celtic get beat.
Beat 1-0.
Like Pierre missed a header
open
and put
goals
it,
header.
put it right. Did they put it into the ground and bounced over
No,
the bar?
straight over.
Destroyed as a barkeep.
Yeah,
They were a good team.
Were a good
But see that trip, I remember during the day, sitting underneath the Eiffel Tower, and there was a game of football, and it must have been like 150 a side. It was just massive, and these French folk didn't know what was they were attacking them. It was thousands underneath the Eiffel Tower. But anyway, Archie Lauder sitting pished on these benches round about, and we were all a big group of us there, and Archie Lauder sits next to this woman, quite an attractive young lady, starts trying to talk to her in broken French and broken English, and and this went on about 10 minutes, and the girl turns around and said, I'm for Easter House. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Aye. He was just but that was a great trip, but you get herded in and out there.
That's what I'm saying. You get picked up at the Arc de Triomphe just round the corner for it. It was just, and then you drove into the game, drove to the game, dropped off, and I can remember the cattle journey to this kind of, and that was the old Park de Plaque. It was like a road that was even as big as this wall, and everybody was going up it to get into the Park de
That's a
Plaque.
good analogy for the podcast.
Nah, you know what I'm talking about.
Not that big.
So we get into the ground, and it's the first ground I've been in. They played a jukebox all the way through it for to create an atmosphere.
That's right, aye. Putting music through.
Could you put money on that?
Because all you had was boom, boom, you know.
No, they put the music through the
Aye.
sound system
It was
to
on.
get the fans starting to sing.
Aye, it did.
And they had, because they were made up of two separate clubs, Saint-Germain and Paris.
I did one at one side, one at the other.
One set of fans at one side, but again, mind the fight.
I don't like one of them.
The fans would separate,
It was
and there
ultra
would be
right wing and
massive
ultra left
fight,
wing.
and then they would come together and start battling with each other. And then see, because we were all warned about Ben Hassel, but when we were walking out, all their fans, their reasonable fans, were all standing, weren't they? Clapping.
Yeah.
The riot police, who had the shields up beforehand, were just standing with their helmets and their belts. Just absolutely brilliant. Celtic fans again were outstanding that night. Outstanding.
Another thing I can remember that trip, it was a Icelandic Icelandic Airways flight. It was Harry Hines special. It was Harry Hines that organised the trip. And Chick Charnel was in it. Chick and his sons at the time were brought up when he was up at
used to see them every week.
Sportsman's dinner. I mentioned it that night. He said, "Do you remember?" I said, "Well, I can't remember that." And these guys, so you know this, you can imagine it was the biggest player I've ever been on in my life. I think it's still the biggest player I've ever been on in my life. It was enormous, that's all I can remember. And all these guys, all these bears were on it, and you had 6 cabin staff, I think it was, or 6 or 8 cabin staff, right? And see, as soon as the plane took off, these cabin staff disappeared because all these guys were sitting with the bolts of butt fast and free.
Drink their own duty free.
Something like that. And see, we never even get in the airport, Sir Charles, we never even get in it. Because I was looking big something back for Brendan or Bob Jeffrey or something like that. We never even get in it. Because see, when you shuttled you out the game, onto your bus again, right on the tarmac.
Away. See, I went to that game with Tommy Larkin, and we got the train from Motherwell down to Manchester and flew from Manchester to Paris and kind of made our own way there. And we checked into our hotel, so we were there 3 nights. We checked into our hotel the day we arrived and checked. We weren't in the hotel again until we checked it. When we left, we weren't in it again. Mental.
Right, what were you, Brian?
I'll let you go first.
No, right, Brian.
No, you should, Brian.
Right, no fighting.
I don't know. To be honest with you, Vincent, some really right good trips away. You know, enjoyed the banner and all that carry on. We had a trip down to Manchester on the train. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
That was brilliant.
And we had the adventure the year I gone to Seville. I went to Blackburn, Stuttgart, and then Seville. And the 3 trips, there's stories about every one of these trips, you know what I mean?
Most of them are, well, for me, all my memories are the travelling, but you know, just on that's where we get such a laugh, because the Milan trip, I didn't particularly like Milan, but see the trip on the train, we flew into one of the kind of the Ryanair ones that say, you know, it's Milan and it's about 4 days away. We flew into that when we went to Milan, and the train journey was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And again, the train journey down to Manchester, we had a great time.
It was just things like fantastic. See, the actual, you're true what you're saying. The travel is the best bit. It's a lot of time. The fuck was the worst bit of it.
I remember when we went to Brussels for the Anderlecht game, and it was probably the game that biggest criticism of Martin O'Neill that Celtic didn't win an away game in the Champions League. So they were down to 10 men, but the game was dreadful. But you were in Brussels the night before, the night of the game. It was obviously one of the places that lots of fans could travel via kind of low cost carriers as well. So there was thousands of Celtic fans. They had a fan park outside the game for the ones that didn't have tickets. But during the day we went for a meal. Trisha Ferns had got her guitar out, and we were in this restaurant. It was huge. It was an upstairs and it overlooked the road. Some Celtic fans were out, thousands of them out kind of in the square, and we were just playing. People were coming in for lunch. Never left for lunch. Just came up and they joined. So it was next minute. It was an hour later. There was about 150 people just sitting around, starting the songs. It was brilliant. And then you go to the game. The game's like, oh, for God's sake! I mean, that's like more than tickets for Amsterdam might be quite good. I think absolutely that's the kind of making this trip. There's only a few games that they've actually done themselves justice. The Seville run was one of the times. Stuttgart, Liverpool, Blackburn, Vigo. I mean, just all the away games that season, they seem to. Obviously, the semi-final against.
I don't know that I would do the fly in, fly out thing. I don't think. I just wouldn't enjoy that. I wouldn't enjoy that.
That was the first trip. That's the first time. I've never done it since.
I wouldn't enjoy that.
I've only done it. In fact,
see, you're talking about that, Vincent. See Blackburn. See the Blackburn. Just take that as itself. I've never seen many fans in the one stand in all my life.
Aye.
You could see the full still. I've already said this about in the podcast how we eventually got into the stadium with a fake ticket and all that carry on. But when we got in, we were in the front row of the top section. Seeing you look down a minute, Peter, you couldn't see any seats. There wasn't an aisle. You could not see an aisle.
Just like terracing.
Aye, that's what it was like, Brian. See, looking down at it. It was incredible to see. And I'd never seen in the one stand. I don't think whatever that was. Maybe it held about maybe 6,000 or 7,000. I remember
that in the Celtic
double of that.
against Dundee when we won the league. Remember, we must have seen about 40,000 that day. I remember that because we were all at the track.
That game we were in the top tier and we were near the back of the top tier, and the back 3 rows were empty because everybody had just went in, and if their mate had a ticket for the back and their mate had a ticket somewhere else, they just sat next to their mate. And because remember when the boy lit the firework off,
and they thought it was us,
and they thought we thought it was Kieran.
I
thought it was Kieran, and we were going ballistic. And next minute, you're going to get ejected. And Celtic stewards come up with us, and it was empty for the back 3 rows.
That was a great. See, go back to what you were saying. You've had some great trips, and the game's been rubbish. That game was outstanding, wasn't it? So there is different things like a trip. I've loved everyone, but for different reasons. Some it's been that one in particular was a game. It was just outstanding.
I don't know. It was Roman Badger getting soaked. Remember, Brian?
Aye. That was brilliant. See the boy at Swanese TV News.
Aye.
They opened a nightclub.
Ramen. That's it.
In the middle of Blackburn during the day, right? So bring all the Celtic fans in. So he was just about to do his
Going live. 1 o'clock. Live.
Somebody wants that.
Him and Jean Lewis, they're standing in amongst all the Celtic fans.
There, and it was like a wee podium kind of bit thing. Whoa, bite right at that. It was running right in his face.
Was he raging?
No, he was. He probably was, right?
He didn't want to show it.
There was nothing you could do about it.
You know what I mean? Because we just got straight on it, straight on live. He's actually going. We were all kind of. He's on live straight on it.
We just
Liverpool for me was going to Anfield, because Blackburn was great because it was Souness and the Men Against Boys comment had come out, and they were third in the Premiership or second in the Premiership at the time. They just beat Arsenal the weekend before at Highbury at the Emirates and stuff like that. They were flying high. But Liverpool, so the game that night was fantastic. But where it's all came together, pre-game, at the game, and post-game, Anfield was just absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal, and the amount of Celtic fans down there, tickets in the other end.
We were in the Liverpool end.
Well, you were. I wasn't. I wasn't.
And that was great. See when mind Hartson got knocked down in his arse just before he got up and scored. Well, Paul Gorman had got us the tickets, and he was when Hartson got knocked down, he shouted, "Get up!" And Paul's a Liverpool fan. He shouted, "Get up off your fat arse, you Welsh bastard!" 30 seconds later, he fires it into the top corner, and Big Ian, his father-in-law, saying he's up off his fat arse now. Absolutely brilliant, man. Absolutely brilliant. But that game, my wee boy Luke, he had an operation that morning in York Hill. And that game, I had to wait because to drive. I was still going to the game.
You went down with big Scott Wilson or something?
No, I gave Dad and Ian Kelly a lift down, but it was later on. We couldn't leave until Luke had come out.
They went Ricky's bus, did they not?
Came back in Ricky's bus. So we had to wait, and Luke came out the operating theatre till the anaesthetic had worn off, making sure he was alright, and then because he was getting out that day and taken home. So I'm kind of looking at my watch.
Sounds like I'm a bit nervous in case you must slap man.
You're alright, he's alright. I'm sure he's alright. And it was an operation in quite a sensitive area. So we got him home that day, and I picked my dad up at lunchtime, and honestly, I think they were that because we had left a lot later than what we normally would. Big Ian Kelly was steaming by the time we got to Abingdon. We were only 30 miles down the road, and they had three bottles of Chablis between them. Big Ian slivering up more shite than what he normally so it's funny the things I remember. That Anfield game was I was choking for a beer the time we got there, and I'm sitting. John Kelly was the other one. They were pished.
That was great, absolutely
great trip. But I don't know.
I've
got so many great memories. I think Seville for me is quite an emotional one because it was the last football game I ever went to with my dad, and I went to the games with my dad. He died a month later, and so that I'll always hold that dear for that reason, but also because it was a UEFA Cup final. But see that whole year, the run of games we had, And that was it. The very first European game in that run was Basel. And I was at Basel with my dad. And we got knocked out because that was a Champions League qualifier, and how we ended up in the FA Cup. Knocked out in away goals. I mind my dad that night, he was raging. Absolutely. And we all were, we shouldn't get knocked out with Basel. We were a far better team than them at that time. But that whole run that year, I have to say, the Seville year for me, because probably more so with my dad. It been his last year of his life, and going to the football with him, it was just a fantastic experience. But Peter mentioned that PSG was also my first, and Brian mentioned Blackburn for the game was just outstanding. Kevin's mentioned Liverpool.
Even
I've had such great Lyon. I was in Lyon twice. It was it Bordeaux or Lyon that Henrik broke his leg? Lyon the second time.
I was in Lyon.
And that was just... I don't think I've ever been as sick at a football game. I don't think I've ever been as sick at a game after that.
The funny story about Bordeaux, there are a number of funny stories, but in the ground, it was probably the first... You weren't used, obviously, the alcohol ban, you weren't used to getting swally in the ground, and people were, we're coming back with containers there, and it was alcohol free. You get in there, you're getting melted, and it was all alcohol free. You're just like, you are mental, absolutely mental. Do you see funny things like that? And that time,
just a wee post note. If we were to go to Barcelona, I think we'll go back to that bar, Brian.
Oh no.
What they had was they had Parma ham. Big thing was at Parma ham hanging on the ceiling, you know. So Big McKeever.
He was trying to blind one for nothing.
No. We were attracting a crowd. We'll get McKeever to got him, and he did it. Right? And these guys are going.
Well, at least it was just his head, because he's got nothing in there.
Boy hit the bar like, this is brilliant, you know. And the McKeever's going. We're bringing everybody in, all these Irish guys, you know. They're come and see. The guys are up and they're running from one end of the court, you know. But the best thing about it was the guy's drinks fridge. We'd get the place that full. The boys' drinks fridge was right here. So we get us. Pass the beer.
So your base trick was thieving.
That's good.
See how McKeever up? He was heated in the Parma ham, right? So that's
like that's a normal. That's what you do.
Right, you ready for this one? This gets better.
Pastime.
Right, this gets better.
What did you do when you were away? I was just
big Irish boy in the bar, right? Big Irish boy at the bar, right? He's like, I'll do it. So he takes a runner for the other end of the pub. McGraw's up the tap and Pultler hang up. That boy went straight on.
We were betting on it. We were taking money off them. Like, €5 if you can, you know, we'll bet you €5 you can't heat it.
That's new enough, though.
So he's
He's
complete. Right, €5.
That's new enough. It's a national sport now.
Theft and extortion. This is new.
thieving off a wee Spanish boy and extorting other Celtic fans. That's a Connolly's great European trip.
You should get a job in the Rangers.
I'm not going to tell you one about Leon with the blow up sheep. That was
met you.
Okay.
Bordeaux, sorry.
Right, guys, I think that's probably a
do you
good
remember
note,
the
right?
dog? Celtic fans who let the dogs out, and the dog was barking. The dog knew the song. It was absolutely brilliant. I've got photos. I need to bring those photos. I've got photos. I found them about 6 weeks ago. We're all in them. Dougie Mooney, Paul Dunn, McKeever, and I'll tell you what, Peter.
McLean was there as well, wasn't he?
You?
William McLean was there.
I'm sure you've got hair in one.
It wasn't that long ago. Sure.
It was.
When was it?
I'm telling you.
That was 2000. No, sorry.
2004.
Was it? No, it was well before that, was it not?
It was after that. After.
Was it? It was before Seville. It was his
first
year.
It was 2001.
2001.
2001.
So anyway, I think if there's a Barcelona trip, I'm going, and I want to heed the Parma ham. I want to heed the Parma ham. Are you coming with me?
No, I've got a dam to smoke doobies and look at.
Okay, Brian. And on that note, we're going to wrap up. I'm Vincent at Vincenzo Sir on Twitter, and tonight our panel have been
Brian, BJ Max 67 on Twitter.
Brian. Peter.
Kevin.
Okay, guys, thanks very much.
Cheers. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
The thing I want to see the most is the Glasgow Celtic score. I've been to Munich, been to Paris and Berlin. I watched injustice fall upon you in Turin, and I've shared the pain and glory with the friends that I have made as I dance from place to place in green and white on a worldwide tin parade.